and they jumped in with the organization that was putting this event together. This event is being sponsored by the Black Student Union, the Student Life Board, and the Student Activities Department. I'd like to say peace to the nation of gods and earths. We've invited our national spokesman down here to speak upon the subject of the 5%, who have been slandered in the media as being a gang, and given our national spokesman the opportunity to eradicate the myths concerning the 5%. We'd like to welcome representatives from the NAACP, Jerry Hamlin from the Mountain County Prosecutor's Office, Brookdale Community College Police, the Asbury Park Press, and the Asbury Park School System. Also to Roger, who's from the Communication Department. He'll be filming this event. We're going to have his tapes available for the students and the LRC. After this, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you our national spokesman of the nation of God and earth, the illustrious Mr. Dumar Wade.
Thank you. He said my name is Dumar Wade. I am one of the national representatives for the nation of God and earth, also known as the 5%ers. I greet everybody in peace. We use the term peace because peace is only a way of life that we manifest our power to be as one. Before I start my presentation, I want to be known to everyone, to the world, that we are not anti-white, nor are we pro-black. In fact, we have white 5%ers within our nation. The topic is, we are not a gang. Before I get into that, you must understand who the 5%ers are. Some of you think you know, and where we come from. We teach that the 5%ers, which we are, poor, righteous teachers. We do not believe in the teachings of those who teach that God is a person that cannot be seen or a mystery person. We teach freedom, justice, and equality to all the human families on the face of the planet Earth. We teach freedom, justice, and equality to everyone. I want to be very clear. We are not a religion. We are not an organization. We are not a splinter group. And the topic, we are not a gang. In common sense, in true essence, we are a nation of men and women striving for the development of our people and the human family development. When we first started teaching these teachers in 1964 in Howard, New York, people had the same perception as people have today. You are a gang. Why? Because this was a group of young men. Prior to coming into the knowledge of ourselves, we were cutthroats, we were thieves, drug sellers, you name it, we was that. But our Father, who we bear witness to as Allah, came and taught us that crime does not pay, that we cannot live this way of life if we are going to be able to change ourselves, thus change the world. When I speak of the world, I'm speaking of a state of mind that people are in. As the 5%ers today, they are here to change the state of mind of people that's blind, deaf, and dumb. Not physically blind, deaf, and dumb, only mentally. In 1964, up to now, people say you are a gang, you are a splinter group. Why? Because we did not go according to the norm of what the people was talking about. You have young men and women walking the streets saying that there is no God in the sky, that God is within me. You have young men who say they are likened to Jesus. They are come to raise the people that are physically in a situation that make them other than themselves, and mentally they are dead. As Jesus raised the dead, he made the blind, deaf, and dumb see. The 5%ers also mission is to do the same thing. Yet we realize that there are young people and older people that use our name and do things contrary to the teachings, contrary to the truth. So if you as an individual do not know what the 5%ers are about, and hear a person say, peace, I'm a 5%er, it's only quite naturally that you would be afraid of them and assume that they are a gang. We cannot be a gang because we are a people that is civilized. What we mean by civilized, we are people who is dedicated to teaching knowledge and wisdom of the human families of the planet Earth. Every member within our nation has a responsibility, has a duty to teach those who are uncivilized, meaning those who have no knowledge and wisdom of themselves, no understanding of their culture or respect for governments, It's their duty to show these people how they must be. This is why we teach that we are not anti-white. We are not anti-establishment. We do not teach people to do anything that is wrong. We definitely do not teach people to slash people to be a part of this. There is no initiation to come into the part of being a 5%. The only initiation that one must have is true dedication to reforming oneself. Because the people in government, the people that's in institutions, and the parents must realize that all the young people that we take, their ways and actions was destroyed before we got them. They was telling lies, they was stealing, they was robbing, they was running as a rat pack before they came to us. But it's through the knowledge of what we teach that make it a fact they must leave these things alone. The 5%ers look like you and I. Some 5%ers are located in the higher educational systems. Some 5%ers are teachers. Some 5%ers are in the penal institution. All 5%ers are not young kids. Meaning what? I'm 49 years old. I came into this knowledge, into part of this nation of the 5%ers in 1966. I was 17 years old. Thus, I have 32 years of participating in developing myself and developing the community. I was once a member of the Community Planning Board in New York City. I'm a graduate of the University of Massachusetts. I went to college. We do advocate going to school. All these myths that people have, we cannot change, but we can tell the truth. So in many ways, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very glad that some of y'all do have these negative myths about the 5% because it gives me an opportunity to make everything what? Right. To make everything straight. The things that I may say, you can accept it or you can what? Reject it. Because the truth stands for itself. I take sides with the truth. Black, brown, yellow, or white. I take sides with what? The truth. The truth do not what lie. The 5%ers are here to make a better situation for the young people that exist. Not only for the young people, but for the face of the planet Earth. A gang is a people who have a leader. A gang has a war counselor. A gang has no direction of dealing with the people of the civilized world. We have an objective. Our objective is to build a nation as any other nation. We are a nation within a nation. A complex situation. Because people cannot understand, how could you be a nation inside a nation? How could you say that you are a nation and all you got are these thieves, these thugs running around? Look at them. Baggy pants. They don't respect their mama. They don't go to school. They make babies, they don't take care of their babies. They're not talking about the nation of the 5%ers. They're talking about the youth of the world, in particular the youth in the ghetto hell in North America. We did not put this situation into being. We're here to change that situation. In fact, and you can quote me on this, we're here to stop crime. That's right. The nation of the gods and earth are here to stop crime. We know that the greatest crime that a person can commit is being blind, deaf, and dumb to oneself. It is a fact that young people who have no direction will follow anybody and anything. Within the nation of the 5%ers, we cannot follow anything or anybody. We must go according to our birthright. And our birthright is to be educated. And the greatest education that a man or woman can have is knowledge of self. Because once you have knowledge of self, you begin to respect the other human families on the face of the planet Earth. No longer are you anti-white. We are not revolutionary people. We are civilized people. So knowledge of self make you realize the things that you lack. Make you realize the things that your ancestors or our forebears did not have, we must what? Have. But at the same time, we know that crime do pay in America. Penal institutions do pay in America. So therefore, if young men and women commit crime because of a lack of knowledge of self, they do not get paid. Those who build the institutions get paid. Because in this day and time, communities and neighborhood is bidding for penal correctional institutions, only to incarcerate those individual people who have no knowledge of self and accepted the condition which they have been taught. The so-called black man, youth in America, have been taught to do wrong. He have not been taught to do the things that is right. Because why? Some of their parents are blind, deaf, and dumb. The institutions that they go through was not set up to make them a better person. So here we come. A young group of young people back in 1964 began to refuse and accept all things that was not right. We stopped eating pork because we know that pork is not good for our system. It's not a good dietary habit to have. We stopped believing in a mystery God. And do not get me wrong, every man and woman can accept the way of life which they so choose to accept. But we, as the nation of the 5%ers, do not accept no religion. Our way of life is Islam. Not Islam as a religion, but the nature of our very existence, meaning I, self, Lord, and what? Master. But if you accept Islam, Dumar, then y'all must be Muslims. No, we are not Muslims. But how could you accept Islam if you're not Muslim? Because we come with the new science of our nature, which is Islam. Islam is a way of life. And through Islam, we have learned to respect all people of the planet Earth. But first and foremost, it teaches us to respect ourselves. Any man who respects himself, any man who understands that everything is connected from A to Z, black, brown, yellow, and white is connected, they cannot be a gang. Because to be in a gang, you must be in a sub-state of a condition. All these things are man-made. Gangs is a man-made thought. Civilizing and building the people of the world is a natural phenomenon that everybody cannot do. Because the truth is fit for everybody, but everybody is not fit for what? The truth. Because some people do not want other people to what? Progress or to grow or to develop. It's our nature to develop all young people on the face of the planet Earth. We know we cannot get to all the young people on the face of the planet Earth, so we get to those who we see. And what do we see? We see young children crying in the wilderness of North America. We see young children crying in our what? Communities. Why? Because their parents are incomplete. Their parents are in a state of defection and imperfection. Babies making babies. This is not the teachings of the 5%ers. This is a responsibility that the 5% had to take on. In 1966, when I came into knowledge of myself, I went home and told my mother that I am the original man. I am the Asiatic black man. I am the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet, and father of civilization, and God of the universe. My mother told me I had to be out my mind, I'm crazy. But I respected that, but I walked out the house because I had to make a choice. Do I accept this truth, or do I accept her condition? She meant well for me. She fed me pork for 17 years. But it's not a question of what she fed me, because the pork cannot kill me in that particular instance in terms of spirituality, because it was sustaining me to get a better knowledge of self and a better knowledge of the world. So as I grow, I begin to understand, because getting knowledge of self or being a 5%, you don't change overnight. I'm the first to admit, there are many people who may call themselves 5%, may be doing things that's out of the ordinary, that's not right and exact. But we cannot monitor every individual. Just as I come to America as a foreigner, I cannot say that all Americans are bad, all Americans are substance abusers, alcohol abusers, they beat their wives. But if I listen to the paper, I may assume that. But with proper knowledge and understanding, I begin to observe and to acknowledge what America is based upon. It's based upon class. It's based upon different types of things. So then you begin to identify, well, wait a minute, all Americans are not bad. So you cannot judge the 5%ers just because a person may pick up a piece of knowledge here and go over here and start telling the people this incomplete. Then it's only natural that you may think the 5%ers are worth no good. But this is why we're here, to give you a broad perspective and understand that any time a person come and tell you that they are a 5%er and they say their colors is this, then you know they're lying to you, because again, the 5%ers are not a what? Gang. Listen to me. The 5%ers is not a what? Gang. We are a nation of people that are civilized. Our duty is to teach those who are uncivilized the knowledge and wisdom of self and the science of everything in life. Love, peace, and happiness. But to better understand what I'm talking about is to understand this. In the world, you have three classes of people. You have the rich, you have the middle class, and you have what? The poor. The 5% have developed a science and a language of their own to break things and draw things up from a mathematical standpoint of view, because we realize that everything in life is based upon mathematics. So we are not here to speak above the people's head, we're here to speak into their head. This is why I feel very good to be at this educational institution, to see young people going to school, because we advocate that a man must go and get an education. Talk is cheap, but education is the greatest thing in the world. We do not want people who are lazy. We do not want people who have no skill or no trade. We want people to be intelligent, because the planet Earth is our home. The planet Earth is my home. So how could I develop my home if I'm illiterate, if I'm not prepared to build upon the earth? If you're not prepared to build upon the earth, the only thing you can do is destroy the earth. If you're not prepared to build yourself, the only thing you can do is destroy yourself. If you're not prepared to build within your community, the only thing you can do is destroy your community. So therefore, you must come to the realization of who you are and understand who your neighbor is. So where did the term 5% come from? The term 5% come from the scientific mathematical breakdown that we have established of breaking the human families down. We teach that 85% of the people are a slave of a mental death, not a physical slave. Let me be slow and let me be careful. Is a slave of a mental death and power. Poison animal eaters, meaning they are partakers of the pig flesh. People who do not know of the true and living God or their origin that exists within this world. People who are easily led in the wrong direction and very hard to be led in the right direction. These are people who destroy within their own power. Why do they destroy within their own power? Because they are in a state of being mentally dead. They are mentally and spiritually dead. These are the people that can be easily led in the wrong direction and form gangs, as you see today on the world scene. Young people fighting, killing one another, slashing one another. Because this is a thought pattern that is put into the atmosphere. What are they fighting about? This is how we distinguish ourselves from being a civilized people opposed to being a what? Gang. Because we are not destroying within our power. This is 85% of the people. And whether you like it or not, this is true to the fact. 85% of our people, and particularly the so-called American Negro, is blind, deaf, and dumb. Everything he do, everything he say is not based on his natural response or ability, but it's based on what he had been taught, what he had been read, and his reactionary effect. Then we teach that 10% of the people, whether you're black, brown, yellow, or white, in particular original people or women, you know that 10% of the world population make decisions that affect 90% of the people. And that 10% is called the all-white male exclusive club, whether it be from political, economical, or the nature of their environment. 10% of this population is all white men. Not just Americans, they're Americans, Russians, Caucasian white men that affect 85% of the people on the face of the earth. This 10% use 90% of the earth's resources. So we teach that the 10% are the rich, slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies to believe in something which they cannot see. Because when a person, in particular young people, believe in something they cannot see, they are easily led in the wrong direction. And the problem we have today with our young people is that the adults who are a victim of this 10%, they talk down at young people. They deal in adultism. They don't talk with young people, they talk down at young people. They don't ask you what you want, they tell you what you must have. And this is a microcosm of the world. So we call them 10%, because they have the knowledge. These are like people who study in secrecy, such as those on the Masonic Lounge, or some of y'all may call them the New World Order, the Great Illuminati. See, everybody that's listening in this room and that reads about the 5%, they know that we are not a gang. They know we are civilized people. But they cannot come and tell the public, because if they tell the public, they are revealing the secret. And what is the secret? The secret is that once a man gets knowledge of self, he will become a real man that will control his mental and physical aspects. Therefore, he becomes civilized. If he becomes civilized, he will not do wrong. Because any brother who say he's a 5% and he do wrong, then we say he cannot be amongst us. If you owe this government time, you must leave us alone and go turn yourself in and do the time that you got to do. We do not advocate lying, stealing, and cheating. We do not advocate devilishment. Because within the realm of devilishment, you're going to have a gang. Because from a gang, you have an organized group that want to do certain things under the cover of a gang. So let it be very clear that we are not a gang. This is the topic. But the issue is more so greater than the topic. The issue is, who are the 5%ers? Where did they come from? Now, we have 85%, we have 10%. Now we got the 5%. And we say that 5% of the earth population have knowledge and wisdom and understanding and knows the truth. They do not accept the teaching of the 10%. They are all wise and know and teach that the true and living God is supreme being, the black man from Asia. Yet, many people will say, how could you say that? Because history will show you that the original people of the planet Earth are the father of civilization. I'm not making anything up. There's contribution from all the human families, but the root of this comes from the original man that we teach is the black man. That is not a racist statement. That is an intellectual statement. A racist statement will become if you argue and do not do your research and understand the science of civilization, the development of science, biology, mathematics, and chemistry. But what difference do it make? Because everything is interrelated in this basic form. And our basic form now is going through the ghetto of hell to raise the dead, to raise these young men that will be a danger to this society. I am the first to admit that they are wild, that they are savage, they have no heart, no sensitivity whatsoever. But that is not our nature, that is not our character, that is a condition, a man-made condition that we are here to break. We are here to break the yoke. We are here to raise them from that mental depth and put them into a level of respectability, to their birthright, to be righteous, to be able to walk with a white man, a brown man, or a yellow man, and realize that all things is one. But to do this, we must get to the chase. We must get to what caused all these things to happen. What caused people to be divided? What caused people to be confused? And history has shown, whether we like it or not, that it is religion that have caused people to be this way. I'm not knocking religion. I'm only telling you what all civilized people of high level understand. Because if you can teach my young, my babies, not my physical babies, my babies that's running the street, blind, deaf, and dumb, that they will see a true and living God when they die. And you know, when I say you, those who are in power know that when a person dies, he will not return from the grave physically because it is mathematical impossible because the body is broken down or the matter that's in you is decomposed and broken down to another level. He will not come back from the grave and walk again. If you can teach that, then I can teach that the true essence of man, the true essence of him, is the God that's in him. Because for every tap, I got to give a tick. If you can teach all these mysterious things, and at the same time of teaching these things, you are teaching people to believe in something which they cannot see, and yet they spend no time developing things which they can see. And what is the first thing you see when you get up? Yourself. If you look into the mirror, but your mirror have been cracked, have been broken. So I come today with a dust rag, with Windex, that you could spray on the mirror of life, that you could see a clear picture of who you are. Just not the 5%ers, the adults, the parents, the organizers, the guidance counselors, that you can see who you are. And when you make a decision, an assessment of something, do not make it based on what you have been taught, based on the condition of this community or this society was based on the condition for what is right. Humor. Due to the circumstances that now prevail in our community, no longer do we as 5%ers use Brillo, we use steel wool. Just like anybody ever worked in the kitchen, you use the Brillo pad, it's not good enough because there's too much crust, too much dust. So you go to the steel wool, you scrape a little harder. So we as 5%ers are using steel wool, scraping harder. We're trying to go to the bottom of the pit. And you be my witness. You give me the worst people you have as teenagers, the cutthroats and the thugs, bring them to me, and I'll put my life on the line. If you bring me 10, out of 10, I'll change 7. Make him stand up right. If he's crooked, I'll make him straight. Bring me all your bad guys. Bring them to me, because I understand. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. We all have something in common. We all are parents. We all want the best for our children. And first and foremost, we want the best for ourselves. But how could you get the best for yourself if you do not take time to understand that your statement could affect another generation of people? Isn't it strange? Since 1964, that my children, when I say my children, the youth in our community have digressed. People have died just, you know what I mean, just to work with another person, died through civil rights. All these sacrifices they have made. But yet the young in 1998 are going backwards. Why is that? Is it their nature to go backwards? Is it their nature? Is it his nature to kill this man because he stepped on a pair of $100 sneakers? No. It's the condition. And that condition comes from adults, like myself, not doing their job. From teachers, prosecutors, educators, clergymen, not performing their tasks, only concerning about the physical wealth of their being. You cannot blame the youth, you must blame yourself. If you call the 5%ers a gang, you must be a gang, because they're under your authority. They're under your rules and regulations. They're under your society. It is not I who made the law. I'm only here to fulfill the law that has been prophesied. That I come to save the children that are crying in the wilderness. And this is not no poetic, religious matter. This is a matter of life and death. I could raise any man that's blind, deaf, and dumb if he wanted to be saved. Not raise him physically, but raise him mentally. And once I raise him, I'm not going to send my hat around asking for no collection. Because the dead is never known to return from the grave if they're dead physically. But some of our people have been lost mentally. And the 5%ers are here to teach the science of how to raise the dead. The 5%ers are here to advocate the glory call of education. If you know anybody who says he's a 5%er, and you're a teacher, and he's in your class, and he says he's a 5%er and he's disruptive, then all you got to do is get in touch with us. Because either he will leave us alone or he'll straighten up. Because we are not about that. We're about civilizing the world. That's a big task. But the world is only a state of mind. Young brothers say, the world coming to an end, Dumar, what should we do? The world not coming to an end, young man. That state of existence that you know that the world may come to an end. Bad to bad come to an end. But good to good is now being born. There's good in everybody. Just because you're white, you shouldn't have a premeditated thought about me. And just because you're black and get knowledge yourself, you can't walk around saying that, oh, that's the white man is a thug. By nature and history, every place he have been, he have shown devilish men. He have raped, robbed, and ravished. Not Harry Lunch Pail or Joe carry my work pail, but the 10%. Every place they've been on the face of the planet, they have raped, robbed, and ravished. So therefore, the people say, this is a devil. But at the same time, I must tell the world that the worst devil is a black devil. In New York, in my communities, I see black on black crime. So-called leaders say, how could you speak on black crime? We must keep it hush-hush. That's not hush-hush. I don't see no Caucasian man robbing my mother. I don't see no Caucasian man doing the things that cause confusion in my community. I see young black men doing it. So the worst devil is a what? Black devil. So when you say that the 5%ers teach that the white man is a devil, you must also say, at the same time, they teach that the worst devil is a black devil who commit devilish men. But why do they commit devilish men? Where did this thought come from? People react according to thoughts. I could take all the devilish people on the face of the planet Earth, off the earth today, but tomorrow I still have the same problem that exists in our community because they still carry that thought pattern of doing devilishment, which we call telling lies, stealing, and cheating, fighting and killing.